Mark here at the Action Figuratorium, and about 2.5 years ago, me and some friends sat down and took an evening to make some Gaslands cars. That's it's where you take a Hot Wheels car and you mod it into kind of this Mad Max looking vehicle. And it's for a tabletop game, but I think it's just kind of fun to make Mad Max cars. So we sat down and we made some cars, and I have a few that we finished. They've been sitting around for years. I haven't really talked to them or shown pictures of them. So I thought in this episode I would show off the first one. This is the Throne of Bone. This is made from a Simpsons Hot Wheels car. Something that's a little different looking. So stick around. All right, back in the saddle, as they say. So the way you start all of your Gaslands builds is by taking, and it's best to do this in a batch, but by taking a group of Hot Wheels cars and take a drill and underneath it drill out the screws that hold the body together. Generally speaking, the sort of frame that the wheels attach to is plastic and the body is metal. Not all the time though. Sometimes the body's plastic and the little frame is metal. So after you drill them apart, take all the metal parts that have paint, meaning the bodies, and what you do is kind of a mass paint stripping procedure. And what we like to use was this aircraft paint thinner, or stripper I guess. Really industrial strength, really volatile, kind of dangerous. And so if you are watching this video and you think, oh yeah, I'd like to do this, and you go out and get this stuff, just be careful. Put on rubber gloves, have water on hand. It's pretty gruesome of a smell, so mask up, that kind of thing. And then after you have stripped the paint off of it, then you do a primer. And so I usually just apply a kind of a matte finish white that I'm going to paint over later. And this is the procedure for all these Gaslands cars. And from there you can begin the process of creating a cool apocalyptic Mad Max looking vehicle. So in the case of this Throne of Bone, which started off as a Simpsons car, we removed the two bubbles from it, right? And decided that this was going to have a sort of a big chair in the back that a commander, a chief would sit at, and that this would be kind of the mothership, sort of the flag car. This is the head of the parade, so to speak. Or maybe this is the last guy in the parade, that, save the biggest for last. So before I got into to adding all the sort of plastic parts, I gave it this kind of cool brown, sort of rusted out finish, and it was really just through a process of using a bunch of different brown paints and going over them kind of over and over, different areas being really kind of uneven, making it look sort of rusted out, almost sort of burnt out, if you will. And once I had achieved that, and I also like to do things like add a little bit of gray or a little bit of black here and there, just as some type of camouflaging accents, make it look even a little more worn than you'd expect, right? Maybe look like the paint is chipped off in some spots. There's some high wear spots, maybe where a hand always touches it, right? So after I get the body looking kind of good and old on these, then Then I started adding stuff. So in the case of this, I found this little skeleton hand, and it happened to be a pretty good size that I figured it could go onto the back of the chair. So I had to take a Dremel and remove the chair back that the guy would sit in, and in the little hole that was left over, it was just big enough to stick in this hand, this skeleton hand, and it becomes a cool little throne now. And of course, I've put some wash on it to kind of darken it up and make it look sort of grisly and you know, not pristine and new. After that, I decided that that we needed some covers over the wheels for protection, so I just clipped like some little pieces of you know, like excess credit card type material, chunks of plastic, things you might get free in the mail, and just put some kind of this like rubber mesh, this like the net you get at the grocery store that fruit comes in. Sort of clip some of that and glue it to the little piece of plastic and just glue it over the wheels. And then of course you paint it with your browns and blacks and grays and make it sort of match the rest of the car. So you do that on each side. And then the front needed a little something, right? It's got a pretty cool grill on it, but I have these small skulls that originally came from a bracelet, like a Halloween bracelet of these little plastic skulls, and they're double-sided. So you take one of these and you take your Dremel and you just saw it in half, and that gives you two skulls. So there's one over each headlight, which looks kind of cool, and there's one in the back, sort of where the spare tire would be. And it looks especially cool because now these skulls sort of fit in with the skeleton hand. Next, we're going to need some weapons. So I had this weird kind of action figure claw. I don't know originally who this came with. It was just in my bin of parts that I glued to the side. And there's a small crossbow that might be like a Lego or a competitor to Lego. Maybe it's a Mega Bloks. I don't know. But it gets a little bit of a paint treatment. You get a little bit of silver and gray on the bolt in the front, and the rest of it's kind of brown where there's wood, and sort of black where there's the string. And this just gets glued to another piece of plastic that has a hand that can hold the bow handle, and it's just inserted into the top of the car where there used to be kind of a blower there. And next I went and found some windshields off another car that we had and just kind of glued them into place. And there's one in the back, and there's only like a half for the driver in the front, which makes this kind of cool. So it's sort of customized that the other guy would be the guy who fires the weapon. And then I happen to have picked up these small, I don't know which gauge exactly they are, what the scale is, but they're for people who do railroads. They're little people that you populate your railroad area with. And I got 3 of these cards full of little characters, 99 cents each, from my local Goodwill. And I think there's even a picture of these somewhere on my Instagram stream. So this happens to be some characters in pilot gear, like airplane pilots, and that might have been what they're supposed to be for, was some kind of a little airplane diorama scene, or maybe they're supposed to be in like a subway station, something like that. So the commander guy, which I think this is cool now, because these are like guys in the apocalypse who came across a bunch of airplane uniforms and they dressed up like this as part of their gang. So you got the guy in the back who's kind of this commander. He's got his hands on his knees and he's got the cap. And then you've got a couple of people. You got a driver and you got a person who works the gun. And so this is the fully converted Simpson's Hot Wheels car into the Throne of Bone Gaslands car. I'm probably going to hang on to this guy for a little bit. It actually still rolls. One of the things about Gaslands cars is you're supposed to lock the wheels because it's for a game and they're technically game pieces. But I thought it might be cool to later on do some you know, some videos of this thing driving. Maybe it's on fire or going through fire or smoke, that kind of thing, through the wasteland. I thought that might be kind of a cool thing to do with this dog. So we'll see what happens. But that's all for now. This is the Hot Wheels Gaslands build of the Simpsons mobile. My next episode is where I show you what we do with the Jetsons mobile. So hope you all can make it, and I'll see you on the next one.